On this episode of Getting Scarried Away, we are finally back for Season 2. This week, we tap into our nostalgia feels and discuss video stores of the past compared to the modern streaming services of today. We hope you enjoy. I'm great. How are you?
Good. We are back.
We're back. Yay!
Back for Season 2. Woo, woo, woo.
This is so exciting.
And for those of you who are only listening to this, you get an extra special treat because we recorded this on video too.
Yay.
So you can see us.
We're on the YouTubes.
Yeah, if you missed us after our brief hiatus to collect ourselves and get ready for a great Season 2, yeah, that's it. So if you hear us talking about things, that we're looking at each other or something like that, go over to our YouTube and check that out so that you can watch us as well as listen to us. It'll be super fun.
There's a great podcast called the Gus and Eddie Podcast, and they love to call out their audio listeners because they want people to watch their YouTube content. They'll let people watch or listen, whatever, but oftentimes they have a running joke. They're just like, and audio listeners, you can't see this, and also audio listeners, fuck you.
Oh. Well, we won't be that aggressive because we know that some people like to listen to us at work or in the car or something like that, and we don't want you to get in trouble by watching us on video. So
risk your job for us.
No, don't do that. We appreciate you consuming our content in any way. And I think, aren't you really excited, also related to the Gus and Eddie podcast, that we now have the same mics as they do?
Yeah, well, they haven't started using them yet, but yeah.
Well, we have the same mics as they're going to be using. Ricky's a huge mic nerd.
Hello, right. Duchess. Welcome.
You going to be there? You going to do that for the whole time?
So, audio listeners, fuck you. But video listeners, you can clearly see our cat has hijacked the pod. Luckily,
she's beautiful, so...
She is. She's dumb, but she's really, really beautiful.
Yeah, she is. Well, she can stay there if she wants.
She's looking at us like, Mommy, Daddy, what
are you doing?
What doing? But yes, we have new sound equipment. We have some new stuff, some lighting. We've got all sorts of goodies here. So we're very excited to kind of jump into this new sort of chapter of Getting Spookied Away.
That's not our name.
Oh, it's been so long, I forgot.
And I think, we already have a bunch of episode topics picked out, which is going to be amazing because that means that we can have some research on the topics that we're doing. Nothing's going to feel rushed. Everything's going to be, just really fun. And it's going to stray away a little bit from just talking about movies, which will be great. I mean, of course, we will still keep that content. Mm-hmm. Duchess, you are so fucking cute.
She's so sweet.
She's so
she
cute.
Just smacked her lips at us. She's putting it on for the camera. She knows.
She sure is. Oh.
Cut it out.
How dare you? Can the camera see her?
She's probably just out of frame, but...
How dare she do this?
Damn it. Well, anyway.
I hate her 90% of the time, and right now is the time where I love her.
But yes, we are going to kind of get into a whole bunch of different topics. Like Rhiannon said, we love talking about movies. I mean, we could go off about any movie that we want, but we figure we want to kind of shake it up a little bit and kind of get into some other sort of maybe, because we also understand that people maybe haven't seen all the movies that we talk about sometimes. So we would much rather prefer people are like have some sort of level of understanding of what we're kind of talking about. So
yeah, and there's so much more horror content to
Oh,
I already had my first. We're like, 3 minutes in, and I had my first
get your
episode.
Getting Scarried Away bingo boards ready.
There is so much more horror content to consume.
Yeah.
Than just movies, and we know the importance of that, and so we have During our brief hiatus, we had some people reach out to us and send us some things that they wanted to hear about, and also, some things that they might want to talk about with us. And so we've got lots of fun surprises.
Yeah, lots of goodies. But today, we're very excited about today's episode.
Yes. This is something that we've been wanting to do for a while. And we just kind of, during our break, we had the time to really think about it and get into our nostalgia feels, because we're still, I don't want to say we're in quarantine because a lot of things are still open, but even though we're fully vaccinated at this point, we're still, kind of just staying home. So we've been experiencing a lot of nostalgia. We had a really fun date night where we picked a movie and built like a fort and got like a bunch of old snacks and drinks.
I'll tell you what we did. We watched, so first of all, we got a whole bunch of like 90s sort of esque snacks.
90s, early 2000s, yeah.
Like Bagel Bites. We got, we didn't get Dunkaroos, did we?
No, we didn't get Dunkaroos. We got Bagel Bites. We got Kool-Aid Jammers. And also those Kool-Aids that come in are those Kool-Aid Jammers the ones that come in the plastic bottle with the like twist top?
I'm not a Kool-Aid connoisseur.
And then we got High C juice boxes. We tried to get 3D Doritos, but they were only available for like online order in our area.
And in like Mexico, it said online. I don't know. It was a mess because like the next day, we're going off on a tangent, but the next day we went to a gas station and someone walked out with a bag of 3D Doritos.
And Ricky was like, "What the hell?" I looked he went to like 3 different stores.
I was so mad. But anyway,
we got like Scooby snacks, all that stuff.
We did all the goodies.
Yeah, really fun.
So this was also on International Women's Day. And what movie did we watch, Rhiannon? Go ahead and tell the folks.
We watched The Hot Chick.
We watched The Hot Chick with Rob Schneider.
Listen, but the reason is because we had been talking about it, and because we had been talking about Freaky, right? And the relationship between like how it's a Freaky Friday, the hot chick, all of that kind of stuff. And Ricky was like, "Yeah, I've never seen The Hot Chick." And I was like, "What? You've never seen The Hot Chick?"
I've never seen The Hot Chick. Not until International Women's Day 2021.
So we did it. But so we got off on a big tangent.
We sure did. It was only a matter of time.
Duchess is splaying herself out for the video viewers.
Giving the viewers what they want.
So for this episode, with all of our nostalgia culminating into one,
Duchess. Oh, honey,
I
baby.
just touched it. It just scared her.
So she went right up to the camera and gave it a little sniff. And that usually means she's up to no good.
That usually means she's going to jump on it and knock it over. So what we are doing, the moment you've all been waiting for, we are talking about streaming services versus video stores.
Yes.
So
video stores including things like Blockbuster, Media Play, and other
Family
outlets.
Video. I feel like Family Video was really big around here. I don't know.
Here being Western New York.
Well, New York State in general, because they were, in Syracuse where I'm from.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, I feel like Family Video was big around here. I don't know if they were in other states, but they were not as big of a Blockbuster, but a Blockbuster type.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to get into today. And we're going to get into the pros. We're going to get into the cons. And that's one for me too. And kind of what we miss about the past of movie rental and purchasing, and what we like about the today and the future.
Yeah,
that
and
was
for
a
the video
cohesive
viewers,
sentence.
this is very important. If you like my haircut, I'd really like you to tell me, because
that's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought I was like, yes, we have a display of candies and popcorns.
Well, that's really important too, but more importantly, I got a new haircut, so if you like my middle part and bangs, it would really give me a confidence boost if you wanted to tell me, because
Rhiannon's channeling her Gen Z for today's episode.
Yeah. Okay, that was probably loud. I'm really not sure how I feel about it, so let me know if I should keep it or grow it out.
Yeah, despite how many times I tell her I like it, she's still not sure if she likes it. But anyway.
It's your job to tell me you like it.
So yeah, why don't we start with we just watched a did you mention this already? We just watched
No, I didn't.
a really great documentary the other night. The other night, Ricky, it's so emotional.
I
Called
was getting a little emotional during it.
me too, and I didn't expect that at all. But
I didn't even really know if I wanted to watch it, to be honest.
so it's called The Last Blockbuster, and it is on Netflix right now, and it's got a lot of great comedians, a lot of great personalities on there, narrated by Lauren Lapkus, who is just
It's Sweet Baby
the
Angel.
greatest of the great. So I highly, highly recommend you check it out, especially if you grew up on Blockbuster. Like I know I did. I don't know about you.
Oh,
but
I definitely did. And it was so funny because, well, what it's about, if you haven't seen it, is quite literally the last blockbuster on Earth.
Yeah.
And it's still open to this day. Even the pandemic didn't shut them down, which I really, I hope that they stay open forever.
It seems like they've overcome like any and all obstacle.
Yeah, it's located in Bend, Oregon, right?
Mhm, yeah.
And so if you want to visit it, that's where it is. It's like, I looked it up. It's like 3.5 hours from Portland, I'm pretty sure. So if anybody, like plans a trip to Portland and you want to rent a car and go the 3.5 hours to visit there, it's basically become a tourist attraction now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it literally has it's gained all sorts of wild attention. Like it was, we don't want to give away too much, of course, but there is a moment where they kind of cut to a segment from the John Oliver show, and what's it called? Late Night Tonight, I think.
I don't know. I've never
last
watched it,
last
to
week
be
tonight.
honest.
I'm not sure. He's hilarious. I just don't watch his show a lot because I don't have the cable because I'm not 60. But
Do only 60-year-olds have cable?
yes. But anyway, they showed a clip where he talked about how there's only one block or a few blockbusters at
There
that
were
point.
3. There were 2 in Alaska.
Yeah.
And then this one in Bend, Oregon.
So he organized
People are going to like crucify me for the way I say that.
what?
That state. How do you say it?
Oregon?
Oregon? Okay.
Oregon?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I always say things weird and you call me out on it. So now I'm self-conscious
No,
about
only when it's Alf versus Elf, because they're the
I say
same.
it just like that.
So what's the movie with Will Ferrell?
Elf.
And what's the television series about the space alien?
Elf.
Okay. Now everyone saw it and heard it, and it's out there for the world.
It's very different. One's with an E, one's with an A.
You are high on cocaine. They're totally the same.
I said it just like you just said it.
Anyway, we're going to keep talking about John Oliver. But he did a segment where he, in an effort to keep the blockbuster business alive, he sent all of these... That's great. He sent all of these memorabilia and props from Russell Crowe from like old movie sets that they won in some auction or something, and they sent them to a Blockbuster in Alaska. Now, spoiler alert, that Blockbuster did end up shutting down.
Like not too long after that, I think.
Yeah.
Not too long after they sent the memorabilia.
But
they sent like a leather jockstrap from
Gladiator, I think.
No, it was from like, I don't know. I forgot what it was called. I don't really watch Russell Crowe movies that much, but and then they sent some shit from Les Mis, which
one more total revolution.
Literally, Russell Crowe was the worst part of Les Mis, so I'm confused as to why anybody would want that memorabilia. Sorry, Russell Crowe. I know you've had a very successful career, but
anyway, what are they doing?
It's Just Duchess.
Is she good?
She's just throwing shit.
Honey,
she's just picking it up and throwing it.
Come back over here and be cute for the viewers. All right. So anyway, but yes, now that's all on display in the last Blockbuster. So it literally is a tourist attraction. It's got all sorts of, memorabilia now, and it's got like fan art and all sorts of things that are hung up.
Yeah, and people send donations to keep it open. People send like their old Blockbuster gift cards, which is what like one of the things that really got me. They were like, if this still works, please give it to a family that can use it, that can, like rent out some movies for free or something like that. And then people send their old Blockbuster cards that may not work anymore because they don't live in an area where there's a Blockbuster. There are lots of different things, and I think that it's pretty cool because it just shows how much Blockbuster meant to people, I guess, which is really cool for me because I felt like I absolutely loved going to Blockbuster. I didn't go a lot, especially because, I don't know, my family was always worried that I wouldn't send it back and I would rack up a bunch of late fees. But there was something... Somebody said something on there that they racked up like $40 of late fees on the same movie.
Yeah, something like that. I think it was Scarface. Somebody said they racked up a bunch of late fees on Scarface. I can't remember, but yeah, I don't think I ever had to pay late fees. Luckily, I was always very punctual.
Well, I think the incentive was, and of course, if you want to watch the documentary, you can see that one of the biggest downfalls of Blockbuster was when they did away with late fees because it might have upped their rental sales at the time, but late fees were where they made so much of their money. And so I think part of the incentive for me, though, to not have late fees was I was like, okay, well, if I go back and return my movie, I can get another one.
Yeah, right.
But also I think that that's for those of us who are movie obsessed and who are movie lovers and not just like a family wanting to watch a movie on a Saturday night or something.
Did you ever go to Media Play?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I used to ask for Media Play gift cards every single year for my birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I probably did the same.
I know.
If I'm looking back.
I always remember there was this one Media Play that was huge, and you've actually seen it in Syracuse.
It was open for...
It wasn't open.
Oh.
But they never took the sign down. Oh. And even now they took the sign down, but it's still, like the...
Embedded, like you can
dark,
see the...
Yeah, like from weathering and stuff like that.
The sign that used to be.
And so it was huge. Like it was like the size of, I don't know, a huge department store that you could think of. It was absolutely massive.
Picture a Media Play. Now make it bigger.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
You asshole.
But I feel like Media Plays were generally pretty like huge. At least like to my memory, like I feel like they were always like you walk in and it could have been like, I don't know. I could just be thinking that because I was a very small person and I was always looking up and everything was much bigger than I thought it was. But I always felt like it was like you walk in and it's like almost overwhelming how insanely large these stores were.
Yeah, I agree. I always kind of felt like Media Play was around the size of Best Buy.
Oh yeah, probably. But probably some Best Buys now are bigger. Old Media Plays.
Well, yeah, no, I would think so. But this Media Play in particular was even bigger than that.
Wow.
It was just huge. It was in a strip mall or like a strip plaza.
Can I tell you something real quick? I'm so sorry to interrupt you. When I was younger, whenever people would say strip mall,
you used to think it was like a strip club?
I literally thought it was like the Galleria Mall, but like every single...
was for strippers?
I literally thought, and I'm not even lying to you, I earnestly
would you like to go to the stripper mall now?
But it was almost like intimidating. Like if my parents said like, oh, it's just like if you're driving down whatever, it's just past the strip mall. And I'm thinking
and you were like, I'm not allowed to know about that.
Why are you talking about malls where people strip? That's inappropriate.
Oh, you were so innocent.
Yeah. Well,
I love that. But this anyway. Media Play was in a strip plaza and it was on a corner. So, like the corner was the face of it, but then it extended down both wings and then nothing started until like halfway down each of the strip. So there was the whole, like normally if a store is on a corner, that's where it is. Mm-hmm. Like it's only there, but this extended into each of the wings too. Mm. So it was really big.
Yeah.
But I used to love going there.
It's
I was
like an
so
experience.
sad. Yeah, I was so sad when Media Play closed. Mm-hmm. Almost as sad, and this is like completely off topic, but when I was younger, my favorite place to go was Borders.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So, I remember there was a Borders right by the Walden Galleria Mall, where, and I think it now is like or maybe they tore it down. I'm not sure, but yeah, Borders was the shit. I remember I would never rent books. I would always rent CDs. I rented some David Bowie CD from a Borders. Anyway, memories.
Yeah, I used to love, and now, Barnes & Noble is a similar effect, but there was just something about Borders that it was really, really special. And I used to love going in, and again, Barnes & Noble has this now, but like standing there and listening to different CDs and stuff in their media room.
For sure. Yeah.
That was just so
that was
cool.
The greatest. Dottie, are you going to say hi to the camera?
Giving it a little boop.
Little Dottin. Okay, bye.
So, yeah. I think those were probably my top 3: Blockbuster, Media Play, and Borders.
Okay, yeah.
And all 3
I don't know where I would rank
have died.
Yeah, I know, R.I.P. I think probably... Whoa.
Oh, no, I don't think that I've ranked those. It's not like Blockbuster was my number 1. I would say, honestly, probably Borders was my number 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think...
And then Blockbuster and then Media Play? I don't know. It's so hard. They were just my top 3, wherever they fell.
I'm going to say something controversial yet brave. I shout out Michael Goyak. I think Media Play was probably my favorite over all 3.
I don't think that that's controversial. I think
it's brave though.
It is brave, sure.
But I mean, just because it had everything, like literally any sort of media that you were searching for, you were destined to find it at Media Play. One of my fondest Media Play memories was, I remember I went in with my mom. We were coming from, I think, like a dentist appointment, because I think it was close to the dentist we were going to growing up, and she was like, "If you're good, we'll go to Media Play." Luckily, I was good.
You were like,
no surprise there.
Oh, I'll be good.
I'll be good as hell. So we went to Media Play. We walk in, and literally the first thing I saw when I walked in was a display, like a cardboard display of VHS tapes of The Ghost of Frankenstein. And it was like, who played Frankenstein? It wasn't Boris Karloff that played. I think it might have been either Lon Chaney or Bela Lugosi that played Frankenstein in this. I think it was Lon Chaney. But anyway, I because at that time, and I've talked about this before, I was like super obsessed with like Universal movie monsters.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, like that was my shit. So I walked in, and it was as if there was like a golden aura. Just
it was like, ah.
Exactly. And it was the quickest Media Play trip ever.
You were like, this is it. This is what I want. This is all I've ever wanted. I don't ever have to come here again.
Yeah.
But also, please take me back here again because I do love it.
Yes. But yeah, that's one of my fondest memories. But anyway,
I love that. I just used to love every single year, and shout out to my grandma because I think that she listens to this. But one of my favorite things ever to do when I was younger is every single year my grandma for my birthday would take me and usually my brother too, but you know, he would get his own birthday thing, so we would go to Friendly's.
No surprise there.
No surprise there. And I would get a Monster Mash sundae. I mean, I would get food too, but that was not important.
Oh, we forgot to mention that
we made homemade Monster Mashes.
That day that we watched The Hot Chick.
Yep.
We made homemade Monster Mashes.
So we went to Friendly's, and we realized Friendly's is not an all over the place thing. So Friendly's was an ice cream place, essentially. I mean, they had food. It was kind of like an Applebee's, I guess, like Applebee's type food, but
Kinda,
plus
yeah.
ice cream.
I remember they had bomb chicken fingers.
Yeah, it was very good. Again, they're not open anymore, at least around here, but we had some friends that we were talking to out of state, and they had never heard of Friendly's. So that's what it is for those of you who don't know what it is. So we would go to Friendly's. I would get my food and a Monster Mash. And a Monster Mash was mint chocolate chip ice cream with a Reese's peanut butter cup split in half to make the ears, an M&M for each eye, Um,
I'll try when I'm editing this video to throw like a picture of.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be great. There was like whipped cream and a cherry and hot fudge. Like it was just, oh, it was so delicious.
A delight.
And so I would get one of those, and then we would go shopping. And my grandma would, just take me around, and some of it would be clothes, but then I would get to like pick out some like fun things that I wanted. And it was just so nice. It was like a day to spend with my grandma, to have lunch and go shopping. And if there was a media play in the mall that we were at, I would go there and pick out like a CD
I love it.
or something like that. And that was just like so fun. Well, especially because that's a bunch of nostalgia there.
For sure. Absolutely. Because family nostalgia and then you tie that in with
Friendlies.
Friendlies.
I mean, Friendlies was like one of my absolute favorite places. And then there was an arcade too. And if it was me and my brother together, my grandma would let us go to the arcade and play a couple of games for a little while too. So it was like arcade, Friendlies, shopping, like physical shopping. I don't really go to malls anymore. I mean, we did the other day, but like I shop online.
Right.
So
just because it's so easy. Now that's kind of a nice segue into sort of where we are today with media. Yeah. Since, there really aren't a lot of physical rental stores, you get all of your content online.
So, really quick, I just want to talk about like the in-between period for that. So did you ever do, we never did, but did you ever do like Netflix by mail or Blockbuster by mail or anything like that?
I think my parents almost did it because Netflix was like, when it started was what, like late 90s, early 2000s maybe?
I think it was early 2000s. I don't think it was late 90s. I think it was early 2000s.
And for younger listeners, I mean, Netflix used to be a service where
it was like only by mail.
Yeah, it was. You would get your rentals by mail and then send them back, get some new DVDs in the mail the next week or whatever. Which, I mean, is totally different from what it is today.
Well, yeah, and I think we might have tried it. I know my brother used to rent some video games, and I can't remember if that was like Netflix by mail or if it was
GameFly.
It might have been GameFly, or it might have been like Redbox. We used to do Redbox all the time when that first came out. And honestly, I mean, my parents don't have a DVD player anymore. My mom does, but my dad and my stepmom, they were the ones who were like very into Redbox because I mean, you really couldn't beat it. It was $1 for a movie. Yeah,
I mean, that's a crazy value.
And you only had it for 24 hours, but then you could return it to any kiosk. I mean, it was really amazing. And so that was something that we did all the time, and that's still around. And I'm honestly a little surprised it's still Duchess was just up in our cabinet messing around with our bowls.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that Redbox is still surviving because I don't know. I mean, of course we do, and we have like the video game consoles and stuff that play them, but I don't know how many people have like physical DVD players anymore unless they are true movie lovers.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's a good question. It's a good point. I always grew up with a game system. So eventually game systems sort of adapted to being able to play DVDs, Blu-rays, and now 4K Blu-rays on like PS5 and Xbox. So yeah, I mean, I also find it interesting that, there's still physical media rental services, like you said, like Redbox out there. I don't know, like you said, I don't know what the future is going to be like for them because
really
you start to see it dwindle over time.
I would say that at this point they're probably surviving but not thriving.
I walked into a Target today to get all of these lovely snacks. And Target used to be a place where you could walk into their I guess media section and you would find like a shit ton of DVDs, Blu-rays, games, books, and you still can. It's still all there, but it is much pared down compared to
Yeah, well, it used
what it
to
used to
be
be.
like a whole section of the store, like a whole. Ours is in the back, but I realize that most Targets are different from one another. But like it used to be almost the entirety of the back of the store.
Oh yeah, like
And
walls.
now it's like a couple aisles.
Mm-hmm.
And then like men's section is on one side and like seasonal stuff is on the other side.
Yeah, it's wild. It's so crazy to see, sort of the transition of physical media. And there are there are a ton of horror collectors and people on Instagram. You just Google. Jesus, Ricky.
You just get on the Google.
You get on the Google machine and you type in, "Where is my nephew?" You go on You go on Instagram and you look up hashtags like horror collector or something like that. And you'll find so many accounts where that's what they do. They just collect so much horror media. A great account that we've shouted out before in the past, Peter from the Theater.
Yep, absolutely.
He's got the wildest collection of physical media from old and new. I mean, he's got it all. And
yeah, Peter from the Theater, just for like 2 seconds, his account is so funny because it, like, not physically funny, but I will like look on things and be like, oh, did you see this thing that Peter posted? And you have already liked it. And then like our other account has already liked it because we follow him on all 3 accounts. And I'm always like, oh, well, Peter posted this thing. Like we get so much of our ideas or like recommendations or things like that from Peter's Instagram. I'm constantly sending you things or showing you things and you're like, yeah, I already saw it.
He's just a treasure trove of all things horror.
He's definitely at the top of our algorithm.
For sure. Absolutely. So if you haven't already looked him up on the Google, on the Instagram.
Yeah. Google, go to your computer and open up Internet Explorer.
And just shout at the keyboard.
And just say, Peter from the Theater. And your computer will say nothing because that's not
how technology goes.
You have to address it by a name.
So, but yes, there are a lot of accounts and people who collect the craziest, coolest physical media. And it's a lot harder now to find physical media because back in the old days, you could go into Media Play and you would find a display of Ghost of Frankenstein VHSs.
Yeah, or I would love going into Blockbuster or Family Video and going to their like for purchase section.
Yeah.
That were only, like $5 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always try to like save up a couple of dollars so that I could be, it could be the shittiest fucking movie. And I'd be like, I have $5, Mom, can I please buy it? Like, and not even watch it. Like, I don't know. I just wanted to own movies because at that time, like all we did was rent.
Yeah.
And then when I grew up and, like wasn't really living at the house anymore, my mom started collecting because I have a younger sister who's 13, and my mom started collecting like all of these Disney movies and things like that. And we had VHS tapes. We had a pretty good collection of VHS tapes, but most of the stuff we just rented because movies were expensive to buy.
Yeah.
And it's not really it wasn't really worth it at that time unless you're going to watch it like 30 times.
Right.
Now you buy a movie for $25 or whatever, and it's the same price as the two of us going to the movie theater to see it, but we can watch it 30 times.
So that brings us to, also to that point, there's a really interesting fact. Oh God, Duchess, you're going to suffocate yourself. Let's get it together. Stop.
So sorry for our audio only listeners.
But also fuck you.
No. Our iTunes and Spotify ratings are going to go.
What was I going to say? Oh, yes. So from the documentary that we watched the other night, there's a really interesting fact that they talk about with movie studios before rental stores existed.
Yes.
The way that movie studios approached putting their movies on shelves, and the price differences and what they wanted it to be versus what it ended up being. It's really, really interesting. I don't want to spoil any of that, because I was super surprised when
Yeah.
I heard that.
I would definitely, if you have not already, I would definitely say go watch The Last Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Because it is informative, it's funny, it's emotional,
sweet. Yeah.
it's nostalgic, it's everything, and it's only an hour and a half. I mean,
And it's on Netflix.
and it's on Netflix. Exactly. I mean, I feel like everybody has Netflix
Or has somebody
or
else's
has
Netflix.
somebody else's Netflix. And I just think that, but there were some great facts in there. I don't know if this was something that you didn't want to spoil but I knew it before, so maybe a lot of people already know it, but Netflix approached Best Buy.
Blockbuster.
Or,
I knew what you meant.
we're not even talking about Best Buy. Netflix approached Blockbuster and like offered to basically sell themselves to Blockbuster, and
Yeah.
Blockbuster was like, no thanks, bye.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And so I thought that, that was something that I always knew, but it just hurts to kind of see that, because
Hey.
it just hurts to see it because, they could still be alive today.
For sure. So that kind of brings us into a perfect segue into what today is and how we consume media today. Today is March 2nd. That's what today is. But how we consume when we were recording. Did I say March?
Yeah.
The year was 1996.
Oh.
See, when Rhiannon gets up from the table, I feel so lost, and I'm just like treading water, and I don't know what
Whereas
to
you
do.
get up from the table and I'm just like, it's the Rhiannon show now. Here I go. I will never stop talking. Continue.
So
Today is May 2nd.
today is May 2nd. Oh my goodness, you're gonna have to move that. Duchess off screen keeps trying to get our attention, and she's just like clawing at things. Did she break it? See, there you go. Oh gosh.
Keep going.
Why don't you put it in a closet or something so she can't get in there?
Just keep going.
Anyway, so we've got services such as Netflix, HBO Max, Hulu, you name it, right? There are so many ways to consume movies and shows and content. YouTube, I mean, it's so much. And Rhiannon mentioned, nowadays you can rent a movie on Amazon that's already in theaters for the same price as, 2 movie tickets would be. So like $20 to rent the new, whatever movie it is in theaters. So it's really interesting the way that kind of things are shifting to a more digital platform.
Well, yeah. And so especially during the pandemic, I mean, we've seen even this additional evolution, right?
Yeah.
So just like you said, you can physically rent a movie on your home TV that is in theaters.
Yeah.
And you have to pay a little bit more for it, sure, but it's the same price as what you would be paying for 2 movie tickets.
Right.
So you could,
More or less.
if it's safe for you to be around like a group of a few people, you could rent that movie and it would be cheaper than going to the movies with your friends.
Yeah, for real. So it's really interesting. And, of course, I think Rhiannon and I are biased. Like, we obviously would pick the movie theater over most viewing scenarios, because we just love, that experience. Obviously now it's different. And when theaters are more open, I mean, they're open now, but you know what I mean? I think it's different because we want to experience films with friends. Like,
Right.
Going to see Freaky in theaters would have been, we did see it in theaters, didn't we?
We saw it at the drive-in,
Yeah.
but it would have been so fun. You're absolutely right, because I'm at a place now where I'm in between. I really love going to the movies. And like you said, just there's nothing like a movie theater experience. There's nothing like movie theater popcorn, the smell, everything. It just like psychologically gets you into the zone to watch a movie when you're physically at the movie theater. But I'm also at the place where like I have a little bit of OCD and I'm like a little bit grossed out by the idea of like sitting in a seat that somebody else recently sat in, and like I don't, it's teenagers that work at the movie theater, so even if they are supposed to be cleaning, like, you know, I don't even know how into it they are. So I love the drive-in. And I know sound quality reasons it's not the best because it's only as good as your car sound and it's coming through a radio. So it just really depends. But I will say that we went to the drive-in a lot in this past year.
We did.
And
it worked out great.
One of the times we went to the drive-in, we saw a couple friends there.
Yeah.
And
shout out Chris Sams.
Yes, shout out Chris Sams. And it was just like, for me, I was like, we're watching this movie with friends. Like, it almost made me want to cry because I was like, this is the first time where we've gone and not been like sitting here alone watching a movie. We're like, oh, he's right over there watching the same exact movie. And he, like, you know, we were there for the same thing and we saw him on our way to the bathroom. And it was just really fun.
It was really interesting because we were like we were outside and we just happened to be
and it
walking.
Was dark.
Yeah, we happened to be walking. I don't know. He was going somewhere and you and I were coming from somewhere. And again, we were a good distance away and we were all wearing masks. And I don't like the horror gods like called upon us. And we like looked at each other from a distance and we kind of just like.
And Chris was like, Ricky?
And I was like, Sam's.
Yeah, it was just so cool. It was really awesome.
So yeah, but you know, things like that, like going to see movies with friends and bumping into people, it's the experience. So there's that side of it as well. Now with, you know, home releases and Netflix exclusives, other platform exclusives, you can still experience that sort of thing and have a group over, and you can still, assuming everyone's vaccinated, have, you know, people over and watch things and, you know, get a pizza and just sort of do that sort of stuff.
Well, and even now, and I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but around us, a couple of the theaters have started renting out.
Oh yeah.
Theaters for like, it's not cheap. It's not like the price of one movie ticket, but it's not undoable. Is that
unreasonable? Like if everybody pitches in.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, like if everybody pitches in the price of a movie ticket, I think like I saw one that was like $150 for a movie. And I was like, I would if you have 15 friends and
if you have 15 friends.
Well, I mean, you can like ask your mom and stuff like that too. But if you have like 15 people that want to go watch a movie, you could all be in the same room. And that includes like popcorn, and then you can purchase like candy and stuff like that additional. But the cost includes popcorn and I think a drink or something like that. And so that's a really phenomenal deal. Mm-hmm. And you guys can still all be distanced, but you have the whole movie theater to yourself. And I think sometimes that is the most fun. Like when you go to a movie with friends and you have the whole theater to yourself.
It's great.
It's hilarious because when we would go to movies before the pandemic, we'd be like, oh, I hope nobody's here. So it's just the two of us so that we can like watch the movie with no other distractions. But
that happened with us with Midsommar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. We were basically the only ones in the theater, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I think with Hereditary, we had some people who were like, their phones went off and they were chatty, and that was some bullshit. But you know, things like that. I mean, I remember when we went to go see, and we're getting a little off topic, but whatever.
But you like it.
We're getting scarried away.
Yeah.
We went to go see the Child's Play reimagining.
Oh yeah.
And you know, feel what you want to feel about the movie. That was a great theater experience because everybody like in the room was just kind of like, we all kind of knew that the movie was going to be kind of like silly, you know what I mean, for lack of a better word. So we were all on the same wavelength, and we like the whole room, we were all strangers, but we were like laughing and we were reacting in real time.
It was like almost like a Rocky Horror, toned down, because it's not like people were like throwing shit at the screen and like screaming out at certain places, but
throwing Chucky dolls.
Yeah, like we were all in it as a community and like literally turning to each other and being like, what is going on here? Like, it was
like that kind of thing. And that's the experience again. So where was I going with this point? I'm not sure.
Well, now I think we're moving into, we covered like the early and the middle ground, and now I think we're moving into how everything's pretty much digital now.
Yeah.
So we have, this very new idea of renting a movie that's still in theaters. Mm-hmm. Early digital was like on demand or TiVo.
Yeah. TiVo. Wow.
Yeah, I never had a TiVo, but we did have DVR, which was the same thing, right?
Pretty much, I think. I never had either.
Yeah, we didn't
until
have
much later.
We didn't have it for a long time, but we had it much later. But so what that is just digital video recording, so you could record TV shows and then fast forward through the commercials. That was like revolutionary, I think.
I remember my parents, when they first got DVR, they would like DVR every episode of Lost. And that was like their shit. Oh, and Survivor. And
then their DVR would be full like instantly.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because there was like a limit, right?
I think so. Yeah,
I think you could only record like so many hours.
Right. I don't know what it is now, but yeah.
But so there was DVR, and then of course we started getting these actual video on demands that you paid for. It was pay-per-view, right? And there's still pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. But it was like,
I only got one pay-per-view in my life, and that was WrestleMania 20.
Oh, we used to be allowed to get pay-per-view like not every weekend, but like every few weekends we could get a pay-per-view movie.
Oh, that's cool.
As long as it was something that the whole family agreed on.
So like you had a good childhood. My parents listen to this. They're going to be like, shut up.
You totally did. No, I think that it was...
I love you.
It was more out of laziness of not wanting to go to the video store. I think that it was more that, because realistically everything, and my dad's like a very business person. I don't know if this is the way he thinks about it, but now that I'm a business person, this is the way that I think about it. Like everything has a cost, right? So if you're renting a movie on pay-per-view for $5, it's more expensive than the $1 at Blockbuster or Redbox. But you have other costs associated. So like your time is a cost. Mm-hmm. So your time to drive to the movie store.
Yeah.
Then you go to Blockbuster, and of course you're not just getting the movie, you're getting popcorn and you're getting other things. Whereas if you're renting on pay-per-view, you're just eating whatever you have at home, which we always had popcorn anyways, but.
Oh, so you had a good childhood.
Shut up. And then gas. So by the time, like, yes, $4 or $5 is more expensive than what you were paying at Blockbuster, but the cost of everything else, it kind of evens out. So that's the way I think about it now. So
that makes sense.
I think that my dad didn't really mind. And again, it had to be something that we were all wanting to watch.
Right.
I do remember one time we watched Signs, and my brother
as
cried.
A family?
Yeah. We watched it as a family. My brother cried. I was like, I don't know. I was so young when Signs came out. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this is so dumb. And my brother was shitting his pants. Like, he was so scared.
Throughout the movie, or was it just the one moment? Like,
no,
the moment?
I think he was like terrified by the entire thing.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And it's funny because I was just talking to my brother the other day, and that's something that I hold over his head constantly. I'll never let it go.
Like, he's a badass. Like, he's got a thick skin. So.
Oh, well, you're not his sister, but yeah, sure. My brother was a big old chicken when we were little.
I'm his sister by law, Rhiannon.
I mean, my brother was a chicken. We had a basement that was finished. I mean, finished-ish. As finished as like a 90s, early 2000s basement was.
So
like it wasn't.
So you had a.
Say it one more time, I swear to God. So the basement, let's just put it this way. Before my brother and I were born, or even like when we were babies, my aunt used to live in the basement. So it was like an apartment-esque type thing. It didn't have a kitchen, but it had like a full bathroom. Was the full bathroom a little bit creepy? Sure. It always had spiders because it was a basement. So
Right.
like it still had a concrete floor, but it was nice. It wasn't just concrete with like open exposed beams or anything like that. I'm 2 years younger than my brother. He would make me go down the stairs before him to make sure that there was nothing in the basement before he went down there. So he was such a chicken. But just the other day we were talking about it because he started streaming on Twitch and
Skillless Wonder. Go follow him.
It's skillless spelled right, and then the number 1 DER, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, he's working really hard towards affiliate. He's almost there, but he plays
Dead by Daylight, which is a horror game. He plays
Call of Duty.
Yeah, Warzone. I think he's going to start playing Among Us soon.
Yep, he's going to start playing Among Us. We'll be on there with him probably a few times. So,
so go check him out.
If you like Twitch, definitely go check him out there. But we were talking about it because he was going to start streaming Dead by Daylight, and I was like, I don't know, it's a little bit scary. Like, I don't know if you can handle it. And he's like, I like scary stuff, and I'm like, I'm pretty good at that. And I'm like, Tommy, you cried at Signs, and he's like, okay, but I was like 9.
I was a different person. That's so funny. Wow. I remember Signs scaring me, but really only in that one part.
Yeah, but I just remember that was one movie that we rented on demand.
Do you have, because we're almost at time, I want to ask you a few sort of closing questions.
Sure. Yeah, we didn't really talk about Netflix and Amazon and stuff, but like, we all have
well,
that.
we can touch on them, like Amazon. So do you want to talk about like their exclusives, or like what do you think?
Well, I mean, I guess I was just kind of like taking us through a timeline a little bit of what it was. So after On Demand, then we really started getting in. I think Netflix was like probably the breakthrough of like, you pay this subscription fee and you can watch any of our movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of like the sort of.
Yeah, because then like Amazon Prime was a thing not too long after, but it was like you pay per movie. Like it was still like a pay-per-view type thing.
And then they introduced Prime.
Prime like Prime eligible videos, and then they still do have videos or like movies for rental and stuff like that. But then you've got Netflix, Hulu, Shudder, Amazon Prime. Now there's like Peacock, which has all their own exclusives.
Yeah.
Paramount Plus, HBO Max. Like, I mean, now the market is just so oversaturated. But also, Apple TV.
Yeah.
But realistically, like, if there's any show that we really want to watch, it's on Hulu like the next day.
Or you can find clips on like YouTube or something.
Right. But so what we did is we just found, we have 4 subscriptions, I think.
I don't even know.
We have subscriptions to 4 different services.
For many.
We have subscriptions to 4 different services, I think. But we basically thought again, like cost-wise, we're still paying with all 4 of those subscriptions less than we were for cable.
Right.
So
yeah, at the end of the day,
it's really, I think, worth it to, and then you get all of this exclusive content too.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't need to watch. I don't really watch a lot of TV shows.
Yeah,
I watch movies. So
right. I try to watch TV shows because, I mean, if you find a good TV show, like I'm all in. But like,
yeah, I've been
they're
really
hard
into
to commit
like
to.
Spanish TV shows lately, and I don't.
You
know,
are. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why my Netflix like, has like recommended them to me before I ever watch them. So now I'm just getting like overwhelmed with the amount of recommendations for Spanish TV shows.
You know what it could be? Because Rhiannon was just commissioned to do a painting for one of our friends that has like Hispanic origin. Am I off?
Yeah. So
so maybe when you were Googling,
maybe
that probably worked its way into the algorithm.
You're
like
right.
When you were
probably
researching
did.
that kind of.
Or when I was
thing.
telling you about it, they just heard, because I think they listened too, so they just heard me talking about it or something.
They're always listening.
Yeah. So, well, anyways, I've been
the
really
FBI
into
listens
Spanish.
to our podcast.
Yeah, I've been really into Spanish TV shows. So
live it up. I love that journey.
The
for
one
you.
I just finished, which season 2 comes out in May, and it's like really trashy. But Who Killed Sarah? That was like it's overdubbed in English. And then I watch it with subtitles anyways, because most of the time I watch it while you're sleeping. So I just like turn the volume all the way down. And then the other one was Beauty Beauty and the Baker or something like that. And that was actually fully redone for English, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that it was fully redone, like with a new cast and everything.
Got it.
But
So, as we're closing, let me ask you a few questions.
Ask away.
If I may.
You may.
In your fondest memory,
Okay.
go back to your
Going
days of walking through the aisles of a Blockbuster as a child.
Mm-hmm. I smell it.
What section did you find yourself going through the most? And why is it horror?
I don't think that it was horror because I was pretty young. I mean, when our Blockbusters closed pretty early because then we transitioned to almost like exclusively Family Video.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't really go to Family Video a lot. My mom had a membership, but there wasn't really one close to my dad's house. So we didn't go there a lot unless I was like buying because I think the way Family Video worked is you could rent with a membership, but you could buy even if you didn't have one.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think that was the only reason. But when our Blockbusters were still open, I was pretty young. So I think that my favorite were like, I remember renting, oh God, no, I can't remember it. And then eventually my mom just bought it for me because I rented it so many times. The Cinderella with Drew Barrymore. Ever After.
Ever
After. Yeah. I rented that VHS tape so much, and I don't know why. I was so obsessed with that movie. It's a really fantastic movie, but I rented that movie all the time. And so I think kind of those, I don't even, because it wasn't really a romantic comedy. So I think those like romance movies I was just really obsessed with when I was younger.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that was where I would always go. And I'm sure some of them I probably shouldn't have been watching, but yeah, it was always VHS tapes. I didn't even make it to DVDs before our Blockbuster closed, I'm pretty sure. DVDs were all exclusively from Family Video.
And let me ask you this. Did you always rewind your videotapes?
Oh, yes. Be kind, rewind, always.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you always had to.
For me, I remember
you
going...
You never rewound.
No, I always did. But I distinctly remember, for me, it was going through the horror section.
Okay.
But I distinctly remember the box art for Hellraiser.
Okay.
Evil Dead 2. Oh gosh. Leprechaun. Society. Dead Alive, I think. And I feel like there's one more that has like a it's like embedded in my brain, but of course now I'm not remembering what it was. Maybe it was Halloween, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I just distinctly, especially Evil Dead 2. The skull with the eyeballs, the human eyeballs just like looking into the the camera as if it was like caught off guard. I distinctly remember that. And same sort of situation with you. There was one movie that I would always rent, and I would always go to Blockbuster, grab it, rent it for however many days, and I never owned it.
What was it? Oh, God, Cursed.
It is Wes Craven's Cursed, and this copy has
from Blockbuster.
A Blockbuster barcode on it, and it says previewed $9.99. I bought this from somebody off of eBay because this is the unrated version, which I would always look for.
Well, so the regular version is on Amazon Prime, right?
Yes.
So
the unrated version you can't stream anywhere.
You can't stream anywhere. Yeah. Now that I've like had a second to think about it, the other movies that I rented definitely more than once were Gremlins, Goonies, Fern Gully.
We owned Fern Gully.
Yeah, and then Titanic. It was the 2-disc.
Mm-hmm. The brick.
And then my mom bought it, so I owned the 2-disc Titanic. And then The Hobbit, which my mom also ended up buying the cartoon version, which you've never seen.
No.
So the cartoon version of The Hobbit, and then of course when they came out, all of the Lord of the Rings. And we had those after I rented those like 2 times or something, because that's like a hefty amount of movies to rent. So my mom was like, whatever, I'm just buying these. Like she bought them. I think we bought them like from Blockbuster or Family Video. And we had the VHS tapes of all of them, The Hobbit through. And I'm talking about like, I feel like some people listening are going to think about The Hobbit that came out in recent years. But I'm talking about, it was from the late 80s, I think. And it's a cartoon version of The Hobbit. And it's only like 45 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, folks, unfortunately, we are just about at time. Rhiannon, let me ask you this.
Ask me.
Now that we're into season deuce, do you want to...
Hot Shots Part 2.
Do you want to give folks new advice? We haven't talked about this.
Oh my gosh, we haven't talked about it. I'm not prepared. Sure, you think of something and go first. Oh, of course you do, because you already thought about it and then you drop this bomb on me.
Improv, baby.
I really don't know. Why don't you just give advice today and then I'll do it next week? Here,
I'll try it. We'll see what happens just on the fly.
Okay.
My name's Ricky.
My name's Rhiannon.
Look out for potholes.
And brush your teeth.
Wow, see?
We did it. That just came to me. I had a cavity filled this week, so...
Thanks for watching, folks.
It was fresh on my mind.
We appreciate you. Thanks for listening. If you are an audio listener, I take back everything I said about you earlier. If you
And thanks for watching.
Yeah, assuming that this video worked. I really hope it did.
I think it did. I have faith. Watch, you like didn't hit the record button or something like that.
I would shit on the floor.
Yeah, I know. But don't forget to tell me if you like my bangs. And also,
DM us.
Yeah, please DM us. And also, make sure that you keep watching us. And sorry, I realized I did some weird shit during this because first of all, I'm always very stiff when we record. I need to be loose. But I did.
I'm hunched over like this.
I was yawning a lot, and I'm a chronic yawner. I'm not bored, but I was yawning a lot, and I didn't even cover my mouth. I was just So you guys got to see that exclusive.
We hope you enjoyed watching our cats destroy the set being our apartment that we tried to light properly.
Yes. So we hope it looks okay.
Also, shout out to Rhiannon for making this whole area look presentable for
this is our hallway. So I moved our table from its spot where you saw us on our last video, if you watched that, to right in front of our hallway. So now we have to move it all back.
So we thank you again so much for joining us. If you're a new listener, we hope you stick around for next week's episode. We've got a lot of cool stuff planned. So we hope you enjoy what's to come.
Bye.
So long.